Well, this is going to be the final part of our four-part series on the appendicular skeleton, which is going to be the lower limb. Okay, so the lower limb is going to be made up of 60 bones, 30 bones on the left and 30 bones on the right. And of course, our lower limb is very important because it's going to help us walk, help us jump, help us balance ourselves. So the lower limbs are going to be made up of five major bones. Here we have the femur, okay, the largest bone in our body. Of course, the femur is going to be our thigh, okay, not our leg, our thigh. Next is going to be, I guess we can include our patella. Okay. And here's our leg, not thigh, leg, which is going to be made up of these two bones called the tibia and the fibula. Okay. And then finally we have our pedis, or our foot, okay, which helps us stand on our tippy toes, to jump, all kinds of stuff. All right, so let's start with our first part of our lower appendage. We have our femur. This is how you can determine if it's left or right. Well, the head always has to be facing medially. Okay, so it can either be on this side or on that side. But our second structure, what we can do is say you have this intercondylar fossa that has to be facing towards the back. Okay, this is going to end up being a right femur. So what are the components of the femur? We have our head, we have our neck. Okay. Here we have the greater trochanter, which would be laterally. It's pretty big. And then we have our lesser trochanter. Probably the only trochanters that are in our body that I know of, greater trochanter and lesser trochanter. All right, so then basically we just go down here to the shaft. And posteriorly, we have the linea aspera. The linea aspera is definitely posterior. Okay. So there's two things you can do. You can say the head and the linea aspera has to be facing towards the back. And as we go down here, this is our head over here. So this is going to be the medial side. So this will be our medial condyle. And this will be our lateral condyle. Okay, medial and lateral. Medial and lateral here. And then here we're going to have the medial epicondyle. And then we'll have the lateral epicondyle. And this is the patellar surface. This is where eventually our patella will articulate. Okay, and in between the two condyles we'll have this kind of, you see this U shape? It's called the intercondylar fossa. Okay, so we have our head, our neck, our greater trochanter, our lesser trochanter, our shaft, linea aspera, the medial condyle, medial epicondyle, lateral condyle, lateral epicondyle. Epi is above, so that's the condyle above the condyle, so that's epicondyle. So epicondyle, lateral, and lateral condyle, medial epicondyle and medial condyle, intercondylar fossa, and here we have our patellar surface. Okay, so that's it for our femur. Here we have our patella, which is a sesamoid bone. There's like a big sesame seed on the buns of a hamburger. How can you tell? All right, so this is basically it's really smooth in the front, okay? The back, it's more like a little bit more concave. So the smooth is in the front, but this little peak down here, that's called the apex, and up here is the base. And goes like this. Base is on top and the apex is in the bottom. All right, so that's our patella bone. Now let's go down to the leg. Okay. The leg is going to be made up of these two bones here. We have the tibia, and we have the fibula. Fibula is a little bit tough to try to determine whether it's right or left, front or back. Okay. We'll deal with that in a second. How do you know if this is left or right, front or back? This is the tibial tuberosity, that bump in the front. Right there, that bump. Tibial tuberosity. You can feel it on yours. See that little bump in the front, tibial tuberosity. So we have the tibial tuberosities in the front, and then here we have the malleolus, which is like a ball peen hammer. So this has to be facing medially. So the tibial tuberosity being in the front and the malleolus being medially makes this a right tibia. Okay. The medial condyle, lateral condyle, the tibial tuberosity, shaft, and here we have the medial malleolus. So that's basically it for the tibia. Let's go to the fibula. The fibula is a little complicated to figure out, but at least know that this pointy one here from the two sides, see, this is more pointy and this is more rounder. So the pointy is going to be on the top, and the rounder one will be eventually end up being the malleolus, okay, which is the lateral malleolus. So you can feel these malleolus on the side of your ankles. Okay, the big bumps medially on your ankle, laterally to your ankle. That's going to be the medial lateral malleolus. So our shaft, our lateral malleolus, our head, okay. And the malleolus also have this little fossa right in here, a little indentation. All right. So this is going to go like this. Now just know that the fibula, it's kind of smooth in the front like this, and it bows outwards like that. This is like convex. So that's what makes it a right. Smooth, and this sits up here, sits flush up against there like that. It sits like that, but a little exaggerated, but it sits in there like that. All right. So this is our right fibula, our right tibia. The fibula having the head, the shaft, and the lateral malleolus. Let's go to our final part of our lower appendage, and the last bone we'll go over in our series of videos for the appendicular skeleton, which is our foot. Okay, this is going to be our right foot. All right. Toes always 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No tape on this, thank God. All right. So here we have, instead of carpals like on our wrist, we're going to have tarsals on our foot. These are our tarsals here. Okay. And our biggest, our biggest tarsal is going to be the calcaneus, which is the heel. Calcaneus. And this is going to be the talus, I guess the second biggest one, talus. The tibia and the fibula sit on the talus. Okay. So talus allows you to do like a rocking chair. Down. So our talus, so we have our calcaneus and our talus. Let's go here to our next bone. Right below here on the talus, we'll have the navicular bone. All right. Here we'll have the cuboid bone. And then here we'll have these 3 cuneiform bones. We're going to have the medial cuneiform, the intermediate cuneiform, and the lateral cuneiform. Medial because it's on the toe side, it's medial. So medial, intermediate, and lateral cuneiform. Okay, so those are our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tarsal bones. Then here we go to our metatarsals. Okay, this is metatarsal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have our phalanges. We're going to have, like on our hands, we're going to have 14 phalanx. The toe, like the thumb, is only going to have 2 phalanx, the proximal and distal. And 2 through 5 will have a proximal, middle, and distal phalanx. Proximal, middle, and distal, proximal, middle, and distal, and proximal, middle, and distal. Okay, for 14 phalanx in total. All right, so that's pretty much it. Our bones of the lower limb, our femur, our tibia and fibula, thigh, leg. In between we have our sesamoid bone, which is our patella, and then finally our foot. Okay, so that concludes our 4-part series on our appendicular skeleton. All right, hope you like. On to the next videos, which will most likely end up being the muscles. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.